G'day guys, how you going? It's Iski here, and today is a pretty special day. Today is actually the very first day of my home cinema build. I've been dreaming about this day for a very long time, and it's finally going to happen. And you guys are going to come along and help me, I hope. So if you noticed, just recently I did upload a video where I was talking about this room that we're standing in. This is my home cinema room. It's basically what I've got to play with. And in that video, I showed you what I'm hoping to achieve and, some of the hurdles I have to overcome. But if you're new to my channel and you don't know what I'm all about, and check out that particular video. I'll stick a link on the screen or in the description. Check that video out because this video will make a lot more sense. Okay, so basically this, you can see this is part one of a three-part series. When I actually do my home cinema, it's going to go for months. So there's going to be dozens of videos probably. But the first initial videos, I am actually wanting to build a basic cinema. We want to build a basic home cinema for free. Everything that we're going to use in this basic cinema is going to be free. Stuff that people throw away, stuff that we're going to try and recycle and fix. You know what I'm saying? It's going to have a 180-inch 16:9 screen. We are going to build that from scratch. And hopefully at the end, we're going to have a really cool cinema setup. Now, I'll tell you now, it's a basic setup. It's nowhere near what I'm going to have at the end of my, grand home cinema build. But what I want to do, basically, I just want a basic home cinema setup because I want an image to use so I can build my home cinema. You know what I'm saying? People use riser height calculators and throw distance calculators. I use all of these calculators, by the way, and seating distance calculators. But I don't think you can really plan out and get everything perfect unless you actually have the image on the screen to work with, because I wouldn't want to just rely on a calculator. I actually want the image, and that's where I got this idea. Let's actually build a basic cinema. So that's the whole idea with this junkyard cinema. That's what it's called, a junkyard home cinema, and we're going to do it for free. And the cool part is the gear that I've actually used in this junkyard home cinema, I'm going to use in my final home cinema. I'll eventually upgrade and get, better projectors and so forth, but it's good stuff. Hopefully it's good stuff. I'm not going to give anything away, but hopefully I've got some decent stuff to use. And so that's the reason behind doing this three-part series called A Junkyard Cinema for free. So, anyway, now this particular part, the one that we're doing now, part one, is mainly focused on screen. So this is us building a screen out of junk that I've found, as well as junk that I've just had lying around, and I will tell you now, I will be using this screen in my final build, although I will be changing the fabric, because the fabric we're going to use today is just bridal fabric. It's incredibly expensive bridal fabric, mind you. It's more expensive than what do people use? Spandex. And I would love to use spandex, but hey, it's all about free. I want this to be free, no money being spent at all, and maybe on screws and things like that. But so the fabric that I'm using is just bridal fabric. It's just to get me by, so I can throw an image onto the screen and use that to build my final home cinema. But I'll eventually get rid of that fabric and buy some woven fabric from the States, and we'll change that. But that's probably the only thing I think we're going to change. So that's part one. We'll also be actually moving this table that you've been seeing in all my videos, and probably do something with the carpet, but more about that later. Now part two is going to be focused on speakers as well as seating, and part three is all about equipment. It's going to be projectors and receivers and HTPCs. We'll build a HTPC. We'll build a computer out of just stuff people throw away, and it'll be awesome. It'll be an incredible kind of HTPC, I reckon. But everything that I use is going to be good. It's stuff that people still use, and that still isn't dated. So yeah, stay tuned. But for now, let's stop talking. Let's start doing. I'm going to grab this camera. I'm going to walk around, show you the plan for today, show you what I want to use to build this screen and what yeah, it's going to be interesting. So let's just begin. Okay, groovers, let's get started. So you can see here we have a massive big F-off table, and it's just got so much fabrics and stuff all through it. We got to move this table from here up to there, and that's my shop, my showroom. For people who have never seen me before, I make women's corsetry for a living. So this table has to come up here, and it has to go basically in this space here. We are going to move that counter and we're going to put it somewhere else. We're going to juggle these things around, but there's enough space there to house that table. So we're going to get rid of it. We're going to make everything central as far as my corsetry is concerned. I'll be cutting everything out, sewing everything out, and selling everything from this particular room. Okay, so I guess the next thing to show you, we'll just quickly go over this carpet. Can you see it's green carpet? It's really nice and very expensive carpet, but can you see how it's too short? Obviously I'm going to be getting new carpet at the end of this whole thing. I'll be carpeting my home cinema with very nice carpet in the end, but I do want to hold on to this stuff just while I can. So what I plan on doing is, see how it's too short? You can see all that concrete up there. Basically, I want to move this carpet up so that it is underneath the screen and butted up against that front wall. And basically, I want to do that because once that happens, then we're going to have exposed concrete at this end of the cinema, and we need exposed concrete because we're going to have to build a riser, right? And we can't do it on concrete, so that's going to take care of that. So we'll do that a bit later on. But anyway, let's talk screens. Okay, so can you see, let me just set you down here on this table. Hopefully this is going to work. Can you see that basically there's a motorized screen there? I'll just bring that down a little bit further. But this screen that you're seeing coming down now, I'll just stop that. That is a 150-inch 16:9 screen. So 150 inches. We want to build 180-inch 16:9 screen. So how much bigger is that screen going to be than what you see there? I'll show you. Check this out. In fact, can you see this shiny piece of alloy? This is 1-inch tubing. This is actually going to be one side of our screen. It's not just going to be alloy, mind you. There's going to be other parts involved in this frame. But if you have a look here, from here, all the way, let me walk all the way to the end of this screen, to this end here. That is how big, that's the other end. That is basically how wide a 180-inch 16:9 screen is. Now, let me show you how tall it is. Now, check this out. I mentioned before this hasn't been finished, but I have done enough just to make a bit of example here. Can you see that's actually the bottom of the sofa up there, that bit of MDF, and you can actually see where I've actually cornered that frame around so it looks like a frame, basically looks like a frame. Now there's 50mm clearance there, and once the carpet is actually underneath the bottom of it, I think we've got less than 20mm. So it is tight. It's definitely going to look like one of those IMAX screens in a house, I reckon. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Now, there's a really cool dude on YouTube. His name is Youthman. You've probably seen his channel, and he has a screen that is going to do what I want mine to do. And check this out. I'll see if I can put some footage of him opening up his screen, and you'll get the idea. I've actually already put a hinge on that particular end there, and watch this. So if I come over, I can grab that, and I can bring this along. Whoops, I'm hitting that ladder. But yeah, this is going to come up and basically just sit underneath that sofa, which is awesome. So thank you, Youthman. I actually thought this might work, but it wasn't until I saw Youthman's channel that I went, that is awesome. Thank you very much, mate. I don't know if I actually thought of the whole gas strut idea, which I'm going to use that, youth man, so thank you again. So that's how the screen is actually going to come up and how I'm going to gain access to the speakers and so forth behind. Now, I mentioned, so this stuff here is 1-inch alloy, okay? We are going to be using this stuff here. Let me just show you up the top again. We're going to be using that as our frame. We're going to be using it in conjunction with some pine, but it's going to be a big part of it, this alloy. And let me show you this stuff here. It is so versatile. You can use it for anything, and I've been using this 1-inch alloy for years and years. In fact, if we come up to my shop, if you have a look at my corsets just sitting there displayed, what do you think I made the display out of? This is years ago. There you go. That's all 1-inch tubing, square tubing. It's the best stuff. I used to make, you know, dress rails and things when I used to do markets and all of that kind of stuff. It was so handy, it's so light. And that's what I've come up with. And you're probably wondering, okay, so that stuff's expensive. Where do you get that for free? Well, you know, if you go to the dump enough, or at least as many times as I do, occasionally, very occasionally, you will see some of that thrown out. Probably not enough to make a screen that size, but check this out. Right on cue, Mr. Kookaburra starts. But check that out. About, it was months ago now, somebody dumped all of this tubing out. I just saw it there and I went, I've got to grab that. In fact, I didn't even think of a screen at the time. I just knew that it wasn't the cheapest stuff, and I knew that one day that I would use it. So I threw it in, and it's only months later, and I'm going to use it. So thank you to whoever threw that out. And look at this. They've even left a lot of the connectors in there. But anyway, let's just talk a little bit more about this frame. Obviously, I'm just not going to use just alloy for the frame. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would have done so. What we need to do is actually give it more substance, more thickness. And listen, I'll show you. Let me just pull this out and just hook it over there. Let's just stick it there. Look what I've done here. Give you a bit of a cross-section view. So basically, this stuff here, the alloy is going to be screwed onto this pine. I think the pine is, what are they? 42 by 38 mil pine battens. Really long pieces of pine. I am actually going to screw this. Basically, these long pieces are going to be screwed to pine. And then on top of that, eventually we will put like Alcatraz type thing from Bunnings, and that will only cost, I don't know, it was $12 for 4 meters. I don't know if I'll be doing it in this video, but eventually it will kind of defeat the purpose if I use it, because it's not free. I'll have to buy it, but maybe in future videos I'll do that. I'll just finish it off. But yeah, there you go. And the coolest part about using this pine is, can you see how it's actually wider than this 1-inch stuff? And that's good, because a lot of people, we're going to be bringing the fabric over this. That actually keeps it off the alloy, so the alloy and the frame underneath doesn't actually touch the screen. So how good is that? And the other cool part, necessary part about this pine is we need somewhere to staple the fabric, right? You can't just staple it to alloy, you have to staple it to some timber. So that's the other really cool part about that. Now, I've actually done the entire bottom section already. I know this is going to work, and it's 4 meters long, and I lifted it up just to see if it was rigid, and it was amazing. It was so stiff, there was no flex, there was no bend, and it was relatively light. Like, it was definitely light enough to lift up and, you know, have those gas struts take the weight. So I think we're on a winner. We are going to try that pretty soon. We are going to basically make a frame out of this stuff in this video. Now, before I go any further, let's talk about screen fabrics. There we go. Can you see all the fabrics underneath here? Let's just pull this out. This is actually the same fabric that I want to use. I have got like 2 full 50-meter bolts of this stuff. I think you're probably looking at almost $20 if you want to pay retail for it. It's some kind of crepe or something like that, I think. But you can see it's actually quite see-through, so it's quite transparent. I've done tests, I've thrown it over speakers and there's no way you can tell the difference when the speaker's behind them. I've put a couple of layers and yeah, it's perfect. I think that's going to be good enough for this screen. Like I said, this screen is going to be replaced. The fabric's going to be replaced in the not too distant future. I'll be buying really expensive woven stuff from the States. And we will use that stuff instead. But this stuff here is going to require a seam. I think if you have a look at, listen, let me put this back down. If memory serves me right, I'm pretty sure the seam will be around here. So it's not too bad. Like, to be honest, I don't think I'll even see it. But it's only going to be a temporary screen, like I said. So yeah, I've done some experiments as well. You can actually see there's some purpley dark fabric up there. If you actually have a look behind, this is the fabric that I just showed you. I've actually had a couple of layers of this over this screen and I've been testing it and it looks awesome. Like seriously, I don't even see the difference between that stuff there and a professional screen. It says a lot about professional screens, doesn't it? But I can't see the difference. It looks pretty good and it's acoustically transparent. I'm not sure what the gain would be. It's probably like 0.7 or something, but who cares? It's just temporary, like I said. But anyway, listen, we're talking too much. Let's do some stuff. Alrighty, screen time. Something fun for a change. Let's grab this. Set you here maybe. Oh, come on. Okay, drilling time. That's awesome. Oh, actually, now that I think about it, you guys will see my 1961 VW Carmen gear. If there's any car buffs out there, this is just another project that I have on the go at the moment. I've been working on this since, I think, 2010. And yeah, it's a work in progress, and it's slowly coming along, but it's taken a back seat to this cinema. Once the cinema's done, I think I'll be jumping straight back into this car. But it's a beautiful, the curves on this thing, it's just like a Porsche, one of the very first Porsches. Anyway, getting off track. So here is our drill press. So it's probably just as old as this Carmen gear, if not older. This came from the Civil Aviation Authority. My dad used to work there, and when they were closing down some of the fabrication sheds, he scored this for, I think, $100 or something, and he's passed it down to me when I was just a kid. So that's what we're going to use to drill our holes, and I'll do that now, and I will explain why I've drilled them the way I've done a bit later on. Alright, so let's have a quick look before I go to paint, because I'm going to be painting these white. They look really good when they're white. But you might have noticed we drilled all our holes. But the thing is, some of you eagle-eye guys may have noticed that I used two drill bits. I used a small drill bit on the bottom and a large one on the top. And that's basically on all of them, a large and a small at the bottom. And that's because, you might have remembered, I want to attach the perimeter of my screen to a pine batten. Now, I don't want to see any screws holding that through. I don't want large screws going through the whole thing. I just want, a screw going through one side that's, touching the pine batten. So that there, say that's our screw, and basically that large is basically so I can get the head of the screw in there. That's obviously turned the other way around, and the small one is so I can screw through to the pine batten. Now this might make a little bit more sense when I show you this. I've already done this. I've made one earlier. Oh, actually I made it ages ago. But this here is the entire bottom section of my screen. And there we go. That's it painted white. And that is attached with screws. And it's strong. And so yeah, that's why I've got those large holes, so you can get the head of the screw through there to screw it through to the other side. But guys, it is so good. It is nice and lightweight, and it is strong. Not just that, it's really straight. Like this, the alloy keeps it straight, and the pine gives it like a real kind of substance. Not to mention, the pine will also give us something to staple our fabric to a bit later on. If that's what you want to do, that's what I'm going to do with this one today. I'm going to staple the fabric, my cheap fabric that is, but I think when I come to putting my good Seymour, I think I'm going to be using Seymour XD. I'm pretty sure I will be, acoustically transparent fabric. When I use that, I'll probably go with eyelets and bungees. And that's because I can do the eyelets myself. Remember, I'm a corset maker. So, in fact, let me just pull this back here. And let me just go over there, lift that up, and I'll just show you. I'll shake it around. There's no actual flex at all. It is strong. It's light enough that it could be easily, you know, lifted up by some gas struts. But look at that. It is so solid. Even that way, it's solid. And when I look down there, it's straight, incredibly straight, and there's no reason why it won't remain that way. But before we go any further, I want to quickly show you how I'm going to be doing this screen. I've drawn it out here just rudimentarily. I think that's how you say that word. But yeah, check this out. So this is our screen. This is 16:9 screen. Now, when you have a look on the forums, everyone says that you have to put these, you know, timber bracing pieces in there. Well, there's no way in hell I'm doing that. I don't like it. It looks ugly. I want to be able to see through my acoustically transparent screen to the speakers. I don't want to see ugly big struts, two of them in the center there. So I'm going to have that. This is going to be nice and free. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a bracing piece that goes just up from the base, and then there's going to be more bracing here that holds that together. But the cool part is this whole piece here, this section that is free of bracing, that works out. I've cut this so that that part there works out to be 170 inch 2.35 to 1 CinemaScope screen, which is pretty cool. So this here is your CinemaScope screen, whereas this part here that is braced, well, there will be masking. I'm going to have a nice long piece of masking that will actually slide from underneath this acoustically transparent, you know, the front section of my cinema. I can pull that out. Well, in fact, it's actually going to be attached to this screen, I would say 95% of the time. And I'll actually only take it off when I want to get that whole IMAX kind of feel, or when I'm watching a TV show or movie even in the 16:9 format. Could you imagine Game of Thrones, like dragons, that big war scene in the last season? Can you imagine that on a 180 inch 16:9 screen? Now I'm looking forward to that. But that's the whole idea. So this section here is your CinemaScope. There's going to be masking there most of the time, but whenever I want to watch a 16:9 180 inch screen, I'll just pull that masking off, slide it underneath, and we will have that screen. But for now, this is kind of taking a little bit too long. Let's go and paint and try to get this thing finished. All right, so we need some pine battens. And what I've decided to use are these pine battens in this shelving that I used to have running around the perimeter of this entire room. I used to have all my TV circuit boards on these shelves. And rather than throw all of this stuff out, I actually saved the majority of it. I still have to pull these shelves here down at some point. But yeah, I've saved a bunch of it. In fact, there is still some over on that wall over there, shorter pieces, so I think I'll use that for the sides of this screen. But you can see, even in the ceiling up there, that's where I put a lot of it, and that's going to aid us when, you know, I'm putting my plasterboard on the ceiling to hold in my insulation. So it's good to recycle, so I class that as a freebie. So there you go. So let's get started. Oh, what do you think? These are all our pieces, all grouped up together, ready to be made into a projector screen. So I think we should do that now. I think we should piece this whole thing together and see if it fits. I'm pretty sure it will. I'm kind of confident. But one thing we will have to do is in the corners of this screen where these plastic connectors aren't really made to take any stress. So I'm definitely going to sink a batten screw in each corner But for now, I think we should just do this, you know, put it together and see how it looks. Okay. Whoa, that is a big screen. That is huge. That is massive. Oh man, oh, I'm kind of getting a bit scared now. Wow, that's awesome. All right, so I guess we got to put some batten screws in each corner. Let's do that now. I'll actually start on this corner here, I think. It should be shouldn't be too difficult to do. Wow, that is big. Oh. I'm just going to try with a hole at that depth first, see how we go on this one. Looks good to me. As long as there's no splits, that looks good, that's solid. All right, next one. Let's do this side over here. Got to get a couple more batten screws. It's going to be a bit tight with this screen, this motorized screen in the way. Oh, let's see if I can push this out. That went in quite easy. There was already an existing hole right in that corner. Just worked out so well, just in this side batten piece. Excellent. I love when they just kind of pull themselves in and countersink themselves like that. Okay. It's going to be fun. I really should be making sure this is all square, shouldn't I? Let me just check this. That looks good enough. Pretty good. Might just kick it over, see if we can do that to the top. Yeah, so some of you guys who are probably wondering, well, this can't actually be, you know, kept square or it'll sag and all of this kind of stuff in the middle. Just remember, I haven't actually explained, this isn't finished. There's going to be more pieces to this screen. I'm going to have, you know, I'm going to have a really long piece of angled alloy that goes on the back of this screen, and that's going to keep it really, it's going to stop sagging, and it definitely won't go out of shape. And that bit of angle is also going to be connected to the front border. So yeah, there's going to be a border on here. It's only going to be a small one, but that's how I want it. Perfect. One more. One more and our our screen frame will be complete. Okay. Move some of these speaker wires out of there. Where did I put that square? Oh, absolutely beautiful. Perfect. Iski, you have outdone yourself. All right. Let's sink this one here. we want, nice and flush. Wow. That is huge. That is one massive screen. Oh man, like I know I had like, you know, I had it kind of almost stenciled out on, you know, on the wall that it's going on. But when you look at it like this, it just looks super huge. So, oh, listen, the idea of doing a temporary screen like this isn't just to get my riser heights right and the seating distances right and all that. It can be to basically make sure that you've got the right size screen, you know. So if I feel this is too big, I can easily kind of cut it down, and it's not going to have the final, you know, fabric on it. So the crappy fabric that I put on first of all, it's all temporary, but I will be using this frame for when I actually put my seam or XD fabric on. So that's the plan. So I'll show you something else that I was thinking. Now, like I said, I have to actually lift this on my own. I wouldn't mind actually lifting this up and putting it up against this wall. Can you see I've got these F clamps just clamped up? Actually, the screen that's up there now, the motorized screen, it's actually just sitting on the end of that F clamp up there. But what I was thinking is maybe I can actually hang this screen off that F clamp, and there's another one down here. So I might actually try to lift this up and position it up there. But the thing is, the problem I have is I'm pretty sure this screen is actually, you know, taller than I am, even with my arms extended above my head. So what I thought, can you see up here, I've left those kind of plastic connectors, these T connectors up here. Now, I've done that basically, well, two reasons. The first reason being they don't actually make a straight through connector for this aluminium stuff, so you have to use a T connector, and normally you just cut that off. I was thinking I can cut that off, or what I could do is just leave it on. And you never know, you just don't know how things will go. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure there's going to be no sagging in the top. Well, there can't be, because it's going to be kind of screwed to 3 or 4 hinges, and it'll basically hang up there. But you never know, maybe the bottom possibly could sag. But if that ever happened, I thought maybe I'll just get another 2 pieces of alloy and stick them in the vertical ones and actually connect it down there. I don't need to have a peg standing up. I can connect it with like some other way. But that's why I've left that there. Initially, that's why I left that there. But it's actually going to come in handy for another reason as well. And that being, I actually just came up with this idea. Have a look at this. I actually just made this a few minutes ago. Let me bring this. I was thinking, if I stick that down there, connect it up, you know, push it into these slots, that if I did lift this up on my own, that maybe, just maybe, I could hold and move it around by lifting, you know, putting my hands above my head and just holding it by there. And, you know, all I'll ever want to do is move it from there to basically over there against that wall, because that's where I'll probably be holding it for a while, you know, at least while I do a lot of building of my Acoustically, where all my, you know, speakers and so forth are going to go. But that's one reason I actually left those pegs. Well, I didn't, I only just thought of that. I thought, oh, I can make like a handle piece if I want to move this thing. So I've just made that, and I don't know, we'll see if it works. It may not work. I might need to actually cut down those vertical pieces, the shorter pieces, make them a bit shorter, so there's not so much stress on those plastic connectors. But for now, what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to try and lift it. I'm going to try and lift it and hang it up there, and then we'll get set on to the fabric. Alright, I was thinking maybe of putting some rags or some material over these F-clamp metal parts. I don't really want to scratch this up. Okay. All right. So it's lifting time. Wish me luck. Actually, can you see the angle that's on? That's as I can only just touch the underneath of it there. So yeah, I wouldn't. It'd be very hard. I'd be carrying it on my tippy toes if I was actually to carry this on my own without this rail that I just put on. But I think this is going to come in handy. Yeah, look at that. If you just kind of shuffle it along, that's great. Awesome. All right, I'm going to lift it up. See if we can push it all the way back. Wow. Just even it up a little bit. Wow, that's amazing. It's huge. That is a big screen. All right. What do you think? Check that out. Oh, that is huge. In fact, I'm just going to grab the stand for this camera so I can set you up in here, and I'll walk in front of this. And show you how big this sucker is. Okay, so here we go. So this is me standing at the side of a 180-inch 16:9 screen, or at least the frame of one. So listen, if I was to just kind of casually strut my stuff like I was going to KFC, and you get an idea of just how big this thing is. It's massive. I know I keep saying that, but yeah. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. There was a time when it was on the floor that I was kind of freaking out a bit. I thought maybe I'd overreached, and maybe this thing was a little bit too big. But now that I've spent a little time with it, I've sat down in the seating distances where I want the seats to be. I love it. It's perfect. It's actually 2 times the height to my eyes, going back to my seating distance, which apparently is what it's supposed to be. But I love it. I think it's great. I wish there was fabric on there and I could just see a movie already. But actually that brings me to the next point. Unfortunately, guys, I have to call it. This video has gotten way too long, and we're over an hour now, and if I was to put fabric on this right now, it would blow out to like another 25 minutes. So what I thought we'd do is end this here. It just means that, you know, my 3-part series of my Junkyard Cinema for free will now be a 4-part series, but that's all right. So what I thought we'd do is I have a remote in my pocket. Remember, we have a 150-inch screen tucked up in the ceiling still. I thought maybe we'd roll this down and see what it looked like compared to the 180-inch. I'll just get out of the way. But and just to let you know, guys, know this screen that's coming down, I am still going to use this. It's going to be in the ceiling as well. But you're really going to shake your head and wonder why now, but I'm actually going to have 3 screens. So we'll talk about that another time, but yeah, expect to see 3 screens at the end of this massive build, but 2 of them will be in the ceiling. You won't even know that they're there. They're just for, you know, just different things. I'll explain later. But I know I'm weird. I just can't throw out stuff that costs $3,000, and you know, I'm not selling it for $200 to $300. But anyway, listen, check this out. So that's the size of a 150-inch 16:9 screen compared to a 180-inch 16:9 screen. Just remember this part here, from here to the top, that is 170 inches, 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio. And remember, I drew out that mud map. So I said in that mud map that this was going to be masked, and that's basically how this is going to be. This screen is basically 90% of the time will be a CinemaScope screen, 2.35 to 1, 170 inches. But for the times that I want to watch, say, an epic Game of Thrones finale or something else that, you know, I want more of a, you know, IMAX type feel to, I'll just come over, I'll pluck that masking off. It's only going to be held on by magnets, and it is designed so I can slide the entire length of my masking underneath my entire front end of my home cinema, which basically involves me building the shelving and the speakers shelving, etc. I have to build that so that they're like floating shelves, so that there are no legs or anything there, but I have a way. So that's the idea. So please, like, if this is the first time you have watched my videos and you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe. I'd love to have you along. It's just a new channel. I think it could become something pretty cool, because I'll be doing dozens and dozens of videos building this cinema. It's been my whole dream for like 20 years, and I'm finally doing it. And the fact is, like I said in the previous video, I don't know of any other home cinema builds where people are actually building their cinema over a period of time. Most people just cram in, you know, this is my cinema build in a 10 to 15 minute video. When it's all finished, I'll show you their cinema when it's finished. They might show you some content of it being made, but it's all time-lapsed and it only goes for 15 minutes. So, yeah, I'm sorry my videos are long, but they're designed to be very in-depth and hopefully pretty inspiring. So, guys, thanks again for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.